It's time for the whole 9 yards. Hello again, everyone. I'm Ralph Ventre, and I am fired up, ready to go week 9 of the FCS football season. All 7 Northeast Conference teams are in action, 3 league matchups, 1 non-conference bout. I'll tell you all about them in the opening drive. We kick off the segment with the lone non-conference battle on the Week 9 slate. Wagner will return to New England for the second straight week. The Seahawks step out of league and go to Massachusetts, where they will face FBS member UMass. It's the second FBS member for the Seahawks this season. They played Boston College back on September 24th. Our first league matchup takes us out to Moon Township, where Robert Morris will return to host Central Connecticut State. The Colonials were on the road at Sacred Heart last week. Meanwhile, CCSU was down at Coastal Carolina. This week, they'll square off against one another, both teams hungry, both looking for their first Northeast Conference victory. You can catch all the action live here at NECFrontrow.com. Only a few miles away from Moon Township, another NEC game will unfold out on the bluff at Rooney Field. Duquesne returns home to host the Bryant Bulldogs. This game will feature the top 2 passing attacks in the NEC, both averaging in excess of 255 yards per game. Dylan Beekle leads the Duquesne attack. He's the NEC's all-time leading passer. Dalton Easton is Bryant's signal caller. He just set the program's all-time record for career touchdown passes when he threw his 57th in last week's win over Wagner. One more note on this one. Bryant was the lone NEC team to defeat Duquesne during the 2015 championship run. You'd have to think that the Dukes haven't forgotten about that. And to Fairfield, Connecticut, we go next for the annual meeting between St. Francis and Sacred Heart. This year, you'll see the conference's top rushing offense, Sacred Heart, go up against the league's number 1 run defense, St. Francis U. Sacred Heart is averaging a league-high 5.1 yards per carry, while the SFU Red Flash limit their opponents to a league-low 2.9 yards per rush attempt. It's the Red Flash and the Pioneers, strength against strength, live, front row, Saturday afternoon. Now it's time to take a look at the NEC stock market. Let's see whose value is on the way up. This week, we'll feature a sophomore 6'4" receiver from Fresno, California. He happens to be the reigning offensive player of the week in the Northeast Conference. St. Francis's Cameron Lewis. After appearing in 9 games as a freshman in a limited role, Lewis has exploded onto the scene as one of the FCS's top receivers this season. He ranks 4th amongst Division I FCS national leaders in receiving yards with 854. He caught 4 balls for 135 in last week's win over Duquesne. Back in Week 3, he helped St. Francis break into the win column with an electrifying touchdown catch that proved to be the game winner. In fact, in 4 of his last 5 games, he's amassed at least 120 receiving yards. He has all of the physical attributes: speed, catch radius, and big playability. Cameron Lewis's stock is on the rise. Can I please have a Twitter timeout? Today's featured tweet comes from Bryant senior linebacker Marquis Watson. The big fella was clearly fired up, and rightfully so, after Bryant rebounded from a lopsided loss at St. Francis. by becoming the first NEC team to defeat Wagner this season in Week 8. At 2-1 in league play, the Bulldogs are tied for second place in the standings, and as Watson noted, they're right back in the mix. We'll have some supporting evidence for Watson's claim later on in the show in our Did You Know?
Somerset, it's an NEC Audible.
We mentioned Marquis Watson and Bryant in our previous segment. Well, Watson and the Bulldogs head out to Duquesne this week to take on the defending champions. Bryant head coach Marty Fine knows that there is no shortage of talent on the Duquesne roster.
They have an elite receiver, they have an elite quarterback, and that makes them very dangerous on offense. And then defensively, holy cow, I don't even know where to start, but they have, I think, the best defensive player in the league, and their outside linebacker, 43 Coons. The other two linebackers, one's a Penn State transfer. The Stone, as a freshman, was the freshman of the year in our league, I'm sure. If he wasn't, he should have been. And now on the back end, they're better than they've been. They have 4 Kellogg's that can go cover your man and play zone. It's the best tackling secondary we've seen all year, including the Montana States and the Maines. So they pose a lot of problems from a tactical standpoint, but it's a great opportunity, I think is what it is more than anything else, to really show how far we've come and that we can compete at the high levels of the league once again.
And now it's time for Did You Know? So did you know that the NEC has not had an undefeated champion since the 2008 season? Yes, that's right. In every year since 2008, the league champion and the recipient of the automatic bid to the FCS playoffs has incurred at least one league loss. Since the turn of the millennium, only 4 teams have gone undefeated in league play en route to the conference crown, and twice the NEC champion has had 2 league losses. So there's still a lot of football to be played and a lot of sorting out to do. That's this week's show, but before we go, one quick note. Earlier in the week, a pair of NEC freshmen were named to the Stats FCS National Freshman Player of the Year watch list. Robert Morris linebacker G. Stanley, 7.5 sacks, leads all freshman players, ranks 9th overall nationally. And then Duquesne running back A.J. Hines. He's the FCS rushing leader, and he ranks 5th overall on the national leaderboard. Stanley and Hines are only 2 of 17 players selected to the prestigious National Award watch list. So we ran down the docket, we took a Twitter timeout, we gave a well-deserved shout-out to 2 fabulous freshmen. It was an action-packed show, and it should be an even more exciting Week 9 schedule. I'm Ralph Ventre for NEC Front Row. Thank you for watching the whole 9 yards.